Welcome everybody to Talking Tao. It's great to be here again today, and we have Mirva back on today. For those who were with us last week, we had the opportunity to catch up and ask a couple of questions of her, and it's great to have her back to go a little bit deeper into her journey of the Tao. We have some exciting opportunities coming up that I'm going to let you know about in a moment, and we have Lex here as well. Lex from the Tao Centre in Sydney, as always. I think a lot of you know Lex. So yeah, it's really exciting that we have a very, very powerful workshop coming up in only the weekend after next, so a week and a half from now, which really it's the first Tao workshop we've run at the centre in a few years, at least 2 or 3, and it's the mother of all workshops in terms of what we're able to provide out there to our community in the power, because it really all comes down to the wisdom. So that's what we're going to be talking a little bit about today and going a bit deeper into that. So there is a link into this description if you want to know a little bit more about that workshop. And we're going to be talking about a couple of the other options that you have to dive a little deeper into the Tao wisdom as well. So I'm going to hand over to Lex in a moment to get us started with a bit of the back and forth and ask a few questions of you, Mirva. But I'll just do a quick introduction to you, Mirva. You've been a certified master teacher since. Sorry, can you remind me of that? I know you've been at the Tao teaching since 2016, so you've been a teacher of the Tao since 2016. Is it? No. Okay. So Mirva's going to do the introduction for herself. Let me just say. I'll let you say a few things about yourself, Mirva, but let me just say, I've known you since. No, it's obviously before 2016 because I've known you since 2015. And you've been a great guide and an amazing teacher for me on my journey. And you've really, really shone the light on my path through some of my darkest moments. And you're an amazing teacher. You hold so much of this wisdom and you really embody it in your life. So that's the most important thing that I can really say. So thank you for that. Now, did you want to jump in, Lex, and ask a few questions? Mirva, do you want to just jump straight in? Let's just get into it.
I'll jump straight in if I may. Thanks, Alexander, and thank you, Mirva, again for your time in being with us here today. For those who were with us last week, yeah, it was huge last week. Short amount of time, but we touched on a lot of so many very powerful concepts. There was a lot last week. Even when I was reflecting on what we covered last week, there was a lot, and just hoping today to probably drill down a little bit more into some of those aspects that Mirva shared last week, particularly if you're joining us for the first time. And I'd recommend, if you're with us today for the first time, is definitely go back and watch that earlier interview with Mirva. It's sort of not necessarily in 2 parts, but I think you'll find that is the case all the same. So Mirva, all right, I wake up in the morning, I eat, I do my exercise in the afternoon, do my work during the day and the stuff with my children. That's my typical day. Eating, some exercise, time with my kids, and I do my work, I do my service. So what is it, how is what you're offering, how's that going to be part of my day? I'm just trying to make that connection. Why I'm going straight there is I've had the opportunity to study the Tao teachings now since 2010, but it took a very long time to make the link to my life. And I just want to try and establish a bit of that more for those who have maybe been with us for a little bit. We've got quite a few new healers, people who are doing courses connected with the Sydney Centre. We may have people here just joining us at the moment who are just window shopping. But could you try and just connect the Tao to my typical day or the typical day of a person? Big question. Forgive me, Mo. It's not an easy question, but I know you.
How many connections would you like me to make for you? That's a proper question. How many connections would you like me to make for you?
Connect with food, sleep, connect with exercise, a connection with exercise, make a connection with food, and a connection with my work.
Food.
A parallel, please.
Food, exercise, and work. Okay.
Please.
Okay, good. Well, let's start with the exercise part. That actually starts from the moment you wake up in bed, whether your eyes are open or not. Some people keep their eyes closed when they wake up and they're kind of like, I'm awake. Oh dear, I'm awake. Oh, do I have to get up? The dialogue can be something like this. So there's a way of getting up. There's a way of waking the body up into the world. Some people, if you're like me, who heard the alarm, boom, wham the alarm off wherever it was ringing and just jolted out of bed. So I was the opposite extreme. But I would get up and my eyes would be barely open. My foot would hurt as I would walk from the bedroom to the kitchen to turn the kettle on. So there's a way of managing our energy flow that is directly linked to then exercise. How we exercise, what kind of exercise do we do? Because every day we are different. Today I'm happy, tomorrow I could be livid, then I could be happy again, then I could be feeling so sad or upset about something. So our emotions fluctuate, our consciousness fluctuates, our energy fluctuates. So exercises, are you doing exercise that builds your energy up? That is refreshing and rejuvenating you? Or are you doing exercise that is actually depleting you? That is depleting or, if I can say, drying up the liquid in your body, the muscles, the joints. So there's a whole concept of what kind of exercise. Is it the best exercise for you? What your soul, heart, mind, and body needs. Not just the body, but what your heart needs, what your mind needs. Many people don't exercise enough when they should. There's so much science that backs this up now that the fastest way to clear, for example, when we're feeling depressed or down, is to clear that out of the system is through movement and exercise. So we don't exercise enough. We exercise too much because we have so many negative messages about ourselves. We don't feel good enough. We're doing the right thing. Sometimes we turn to exercise to give ourselves hard time so that we feel good about ourselves. That may sound like a crazy thought process. And that alone we can investigate and unpack for quite a bit of time. So we use exercise not always in the best way, and we don't choose the best type of exercise that supports our vitality, our energy flow. So many people are depleted with energy, and there are such simple things we can do to completely change that around. That is what Tao Wisdom is about in regards to energy, in regards to exercise. Exercise links to our emotional well-being, our physical well-being, and more. But that's just the two kind of obvious links why most people exercise. So that's one thing.
Maybe can I jump in on that?
Yeah.
I gave you 3 examples. I think that's too big, but just already that singular example. Just building on that, whilst you can show us things that we can do, because you're taking things to the next level, I'm listening even with my own, the way I exercise and everything you shared, I just go, yeah, that applies to me. And it applies to me. How would someone know then, like for me, should I go for that bike ride today, or maybe just a walk, or is today a rest day? Like, because I'd have no idea. You know, you're telling us, well, we need to look at these things, but you know, what would be the next step for me in understanding what is the Tao way of exercise for me today?
Well, you need to assess it in the bigger picture of your life. Because if you just focus on the exercise, you're focusing on one aspect of your life like this. But everything is connected. How you exercise affects every part of you. That could filter down to your work, your communications. That can filter down to what you eat, how you eat, because you ask about food. Because some people, when they exercise, they eat like this afterwards, because the mental chatter is, I've done my exercise, I've exercised so hard, now I can eat whatever I want. But am I eating? There's spectacular wisdom in how that old sentence, and I know not everybody may subscribe to this. What you are what you eat. Through the 5-element universal law and theory that dates back 5,000 BC to the Yellow Emperor's internal classic. If you really understand how the physiology of the body works, how the organs absorb the nutrients, distribute the liquids in the body, discrete the wastes, if you really think about it, you would really think twice what you put into your body. Because it affects the cellular vibration. You're either giving literally the fuel for your heart, for your lungs, for your kidneys. Many people have kidney-related conditions, but they don't even know that it's kidney is the organ that is impacted. And this is what Tao science breaks down and makes this amazing wisdom so available, so practical, so tangible, that you can make remarkable, drastic differences in your life if you just dig a little bit into the wisdom. Because if you don't eat food that has nutrients for your body, you can never feel energized really in a sustainable way. You can spike up, with caffeine, with sugar, and we know the effects, and I'm not here to talk about those things. It's more the wisdom of how the longer term, more sustainable effects on your body. Because many people eat for emotions. Many people either don't eat when they have emotional stress. Then the other extreme is many people eat a lot and all kinds of things if they're stressed. So stress eating is definitely something that is not part of following nature's way. The Tao wisdom is all about following nature's way. But how we interpret what is nature's way is rather subjective. And this is where understanding the wisdom can make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes
Beautiful.
people use that as a crutch. They go, oh, it's nature's way. It can't be this way. It can't be that way. Da, 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 da. And it's actually, no, it's just an excuse.
Yeah, I've heard Master Shah use the example of Wu Wei. A lot of people talk about Wu Wei now, and like I've heard it a few times, conscious circles, like, and people are like, oh, it means do nothing. You know, you don't need to do anything. You just, but Master Shah goes, it doesn't mean sitting on the couch not doing anything. It means following nature's way. So it's
yeah. There's a great saying that I learned many years ago, saying it's so good to ask the universe for a cup of tea, but it really helps if you switch the kettle on. So that's the difference of doing nothing versus doing the appropriate next action.
Yeah, beautiful. It reminds me of another person years ago who I remember he spent years trying to manifest an apple, and he sat there and he would, whenever he had the opportunity, he was trying to manifest the apple. He was trying to manifest the apple, and one day while he was doing it, someone went and put an apple in his hand, and then he had his apple.
Awesome.
Yeah, so you never know how it's going to come. So, Mirva, I love that we started this week our discussion a little bit more like grounded and practical, whereas last week we were talking more around the universal principles and from a little bit of a higher level of sort of philosophical understanding, you could say. I'd love for you to like just bring it together now. For there's likely to be a few people watching this, and certainly who would love to join us in our workshop, who have done perhaps the Tao Hands training recently, have maybe done open spiritual channels with Maddie or one of the courses with Carol. And I'd just like for you to touch on, for perhaps them, they would have obviously been exposed to some of this Tao wisdom, but what is it that, why is this the next step for them? Why is this a big step on their path of development, so to speak?
Okay. So if you're a Tao Hands practitioner, note the first word, a Tao Hands practitioner. It's useful to learn and understand the Tao more so that you can understand what kind of healing hands you have received. What is the power that you're tapping into? Because that power is unlimited, because Tao is unlimited. So the wisdom about Tao is unlimited. That's why it felt last week these huge concepts. And the approach is always yin and yang. It's to understand the big picture, but it's understand the granular picture, which is where you're navigating today. So to understand the Tao principles, to understand the Tao universal laws, helps you understand as a practitioner what power you're tapping into. But it then also breaks down further for you to understand the universal laws and principles that all life is made out of. Because if you understand some of those concepts I just shared with to Lex's question, you can start to understand better how to function as a wellness practitioner and how to bring this wisdom to enhance your practice, your clinic, how you serve your clients, so can exponentially increase the wisdom you carry, the power, the abilities, how you can make a difference for your clients and for yourself, obviously. For those who have done opening spiritual channels, that is actually part of some of the abilities and skills, but it's just very small one aspect of the whole Tao wisdom, and some of the skills and abilities that our whole essence, our whole being contains and has. But there is so much more to that picture. Understand what it means to connect with Mother Earth. You know, there are so many ways people talk about a lot of things when it comes to Mother Earth and Mother Nature, and it's wonderful to walk bare feet. It's wonderful to connect because the chakras on your feet literally are a connection points. But what is the significance of this spiritually, collectively? What is the significance of this to the concept of oneness? How is it that you really become one with Mother Earth? Because there's sacred Tao practices for this. It's not just honoring physically that you don't cut a branch of a tree without connecting, without care, you know which obviously some of the indigenous practices, for example, are beautiful practices, beautiful wisdom. But there's more to that as well. So somebody who wants to develop their open spiritual channels, there's infinite wisdom for you to understand. How is it that Mother Nature manifests in the physical body? If you want to open your spiritual channels, you want to communicate, you want to see with your spiritual eye. Well, why not take a look at your own body beyond what meets the physical eye? Why not expand your spiritual channels to understand where the elements of nature reside in your physical body? Because we literally are not separate from the mountains, from the ocean, from the thunder, etc. They are within us. And especially in this time of lockdown, and how long we've been in lockdown, if hundreds of thousands of people knew this, they wouldn't necessarily have to yearn to be in physical nature, because they would have had the knowledge and the practice how to connect with that nature that is outside of their reach, if they'd known how to access this inside in your own very being, which for me is nothing short of miraculous.
There's no small answer, is there, Mirva? Every question. It's just, there's so much here, and this comes back to why the Tao is a journey. It's just not a workshop, and you got your patch, and you're all good. It is a journey. It is a way of life.
Yeah.
Merv, what I want to do for our people who have the opportunity to watch this and further is, let's say from the Tao perspective, if the Tao was looking back at us, what would the Tao want for us? Like, what is this person? So I guess I'm just fast forwarding. Hypothetical, Merva, I do these classes with you, these workshops, and go on this journey with you. What's not an end game as such, because it's an ongoing thing, but what does it sort of look like? Because there's so much in between here to understand, but I just want to go forward. What would the Tao want for us? What is this person moving through life? I know, again, it's a very big question, but I hope I kind of articulated in a way to, please.
The Tao wants us to return home, which is what we said about before. The Tao holds the way for us how to end separation, because it's in the human mind, in the human consciousness. Even if we believe in the connectedness and in the oneness, we are not living it 100% of the time. So it's about creating more connection and more connections in plural. That's what it means to end separation. But it's also to transform and remove our suffering. suffering can be a term that we don't like. If you had told me 15 years ago, maybe I want you to be able to end your suffering, I would have gone, you mean my emotional pain? Because I was in fear, worry, anxiety most of the time. I was constantly stressed and fearful and worried and anxious when I went to work, for example. That's how I lived my day. I didn't consider it, I had no physical issues that needed healing. But suffering for some people, if they have physical aches or pains or conditions, that's definitely suffering. And part of the human consciousness, unfortunately, is we sort of put up and we develop new levels of normal. So we adjust, adapt to deal with discomfort, pain, aches, because we haven't found solutions and answers to relieve that, even if they are there, but we haven't yet found them. Suffering could be for somebody their relationships, their communications, and this could be just family relationships. So many people have challenges in their family relationships. Looking at our relationship with our mother or father, some people have beautiful relationships. A lot of people don't. Or there's a brother or a sister or an uncle where there is pain, and a lot of people have relationships that are basically no contact relationships. That's not harmony. That's not following nature's way. So suffering can take place in so many different ways and formats. And to apply Tao wisdom, to apply the Tao practices, is to transform those situations so that we have a free heart, peaceful mind. We genuinely feel happy and joyous every day. That our happiness is not dependent on other people, what they do or don't do, what they say or don't say. So that our happiness is not dependent on external events. I know a lot of people think that they have this, but then something big happens that really comes to shake their heart. And we realize, oh, I thought I was there, but I wasn't really. So their journey is actually infinite, just like the Tao is infinite. Because we are here on earth in this flesh, in this body. There's always the next layer, the next layer, the next layer.
It's really beautiful. It's really beautiful. Lots of deep reflections. I think the aspect of you talking about going home and then also touching on the fact that we build up these layers of new adjustments, almost like that thing of, oh, if something makes you uncomfortable, you try to build like a wall so you don't feel uncomfortable, and then add another layer onto the suffering, so to speak. So I really felt when you were talking there that it's sort of this journey of the unknown, because we never know what lays beneath those challenges, but yet we do, because that's our true self and that's our home base or something. That's what I got out of when you were chatting then. And I can certainly relate with that when we're not being on this journey and having a moment where you just feel something lift all of a sudden. You may have been going through so much pain and suffering and confusion and just like, it's not necessarily an easy journey, but all of a sudden something lifts and you feel like you never knew was possible, but also it feels so natural and so real in a way.
The other concept that in a Western world we pay very little attention to is prevention. We've in the Eastern cultures, in the Eastern countries, they are more focused on this prevention of physical issues, but prevention of also relationship challenges. In the West, typically, we only worry about what is here. So therefore, we can really take our physical health for granted. We can take our mental health for granted. We never know actually what is happening tomorrow. And many situations have taught us, we never know what happens to our business. For example, something can come and turn that around. And then, is our mental health, our emotional health robust enough to handle the extra pressure, the extra stress? What about our communication skills and abilities? What about other relationships that are needed to support? If they are not there, then how, we may have challenges then dealing with that situation. So in every aspect of life, we can also have preventative measures, and we can eliminate actually things from physically manifesting in our lives as a preventative measure. And this is actually very powerful in the Tao wisdom and in the Tao practices that most of us don't pay attention to, haven't really regarded valuable enough, because we haven't realized that maybe that is something I should pay attention to.
Well, Mirva, I think everyone needs to watch this a few times to just come back again and again and just hear, the wisdom. Your answering of that final question was just, quite incredible. As like Alexander reflecting on my life, and I could say in hindsight that I was asleep before the Tao journey. I was someone passing through life very much asleep and going about it the wrong way, because I felt I was living a life of distraction. And as Alexander shared, any pain point, my move was to defend myself and block it. And as a result, creating separation, and a means to protect. But coming back to what you shared, what does Tao want for us is to end that separation. So it's like, well, I shouldn't be going in to block to protect and push away, rather addressing, well, what is it that's here? So, Merva, this has been an epic session. Again, so much covered. And I really appreciate how you made this very applicable in this session, and making it tangible. So this has, removing the suffering, the challenges, and that we can do, and ending the separation. It's very, very exciting. And when you've been on this journey, you want this for others, because we can just see how we can just be living. That comment about new normal as well. Absolutely. This new normal that we keep creating as we protect ourselves, shut ourselves down from here, push that back, and create this new normal and go, gosh, what is that? What is that for the everyday person now? So, been an incredible session, Mirva.
Yeah. Just think on that new normal. Sorry, I'm jumping in there. Just because this concept of new normal has been such a topical term used during the pandemic. I'm not talking about that kind of new normal. Yes, it can be that level, but just think about if you break your toe. If you have an injury and you break your toe, the doctor can't do much about that. They say, you just need to give it time to heal. Your new normal is you're going to look at where every time you put your foot down, you're going to find a new way of putting that foot down so as not to inflict pain. Therefore, your weight may be more on your heel or on either side of your foot. Therefore, that becomes your new normal, which can then, next minute, you have knee pain. Your hip feels funny because you've been walking crooked. So these kind of tiny adaptations that we do continuously, that we are so not even aware of. That's what I mean when I say new normal. I just want to clarify that because I feel in the last year and a half in this pandemic situation, everybody is tired of hearing the word new normal. So I just wanted to qualify how granular I meant, how we ourselves create new normals for ourselves all the time when something just shifts a little bit in our lives. I hope that makes sense.
Absolutely. And I think it was a really important clarification to make. Absolutely. Mirva, could you offer us all a blessing of integration? probably a blessing. That's what I want, a blessing of integration. But of course, maybe people can just make a request for whatever's applicable for them. But it'd be lovely in this session with some form of healing, spiritual healing. That'd be really appreciated. Thank you.
Sure, I'd be delighted to. Thank you. So I invite everyone, if you're comfortable, close your eyes. Why closing your eyes? Because you close of the external stimuli and you can become more aware of what is happening inside you. Just a connection between our heart and mind can be difficult to maintain. Maintain as a harmonious, peaceful connection. So you can make a request for that. If you have physical aches or pains, you can make a request for that. If you have a relationship that is challenging for you in your life, you can make a request for that. I am not depicting any outcomes for you. That's between you and the Tao source. I am merely a vehicle, a vessel to ask the Tao to offer appropriate blessing at this time for anybody who is here live, who watches this recording, for your request, however it is appropriate for you at this time, for your highest good. Start. Inhale. And give yourself the message to open your heart and soul to receive whatever it is that you are receiving. Because when you consciously open, you will receive more. Just relax. Nothing else to do, nowhere else to be in this moment. letting go of everything that no longer serves you in regards to this aspect of your life. And you don't need to know what that is, because the Tao Source knows infinitely better. Allowing the transformation to take place. Transforming any negative messages we may have in any part of our being, allowing those to be transformed, however relevant, appropriate, applicable, to positive messages. So that we may find and experience peace, happiness, health and well-being, joy, and feel the purpose and belonging. And more, however is appropriate. How means perfect. Get well in Chinese Mandarin. It's like an affirmation at the end. So take a deep breath in and exhale. And when you're ready, open your eyes and move your body a little bit. Move your shoulders. Give yourself permission to stretch. It's good to move the body after a healing blessing, because the frequency is still adjusting. How do you feel? Either of you.
That was very powerful, very, very powerful. And the journey, there was quite a journey for me through almost that little guided meditation that you led through. So I actually did ask for the connection with the heart and the brain, because that's what you brought up. I went, oh yeah, I could do with that. And it was through this, I experienced this process of sort of this this fighting nature inside that sometimes I feel, and it feels it's often that thing of like not wanting to involve myself in it, like, oh no, that's bad, or judging it. And then I was able just to go deeper, and then it actually connected a number of points along the way. I felt the fighting, and then I felt this that was connected with needing, like, in funny talking about food before, it was like then a feeling of like often when I need to eat candy or like I feel this thirst inside me that needs to be quenched. And then it went through this really into my lungs, and I felt this sadness and grief that was healing, and that was actually was expressing through the fighting, but then I was able to go through that journey. So it was very, very powerful for me. Just that little 3 or 4 minutes, however long it was, the time seemed to expand right there. So I'm very grateful.
Wow, thank you. That's a very powerful sharing. And that beautifully depicts some of the disconnection we just carry within ourselves. We don't even have to worry about all the stuff out here, but just within ourselves. So the Tao journey is the journey into our own hearts. And that's going to be a big part of the weekend.
Beautiful.
So I hope you join the weekend.
Yeah. So we want to invite everybody. Did you want to say something, Lex, before I just let everyone know what's on offer? Or
I'll jump in the end. You can let everyone.
Excellent. Yeah. So we want to invite everybody to be part of this very powerful workshop that we have coming up, the 21st to the 23rd of October. It's the Friday night, the Saturday, and the Sunday, with breaks throughout each of the days. But it's a deep immersion, and as I sort of touched on at the beginning, this really is like our big workshop of the year. It's a Tao workshop because everything we do is centered around that. But it's really an opportunity for people that have done any of our other workshops or introduction sessions before to really take what you do to another level. And that's because everything is underpinned by the Tao wisdom. Everything that we offer, you'll understand so much more. Like Mirva touched on around what the Tao hands really means, what it really means, this connection when you do open spiritual channels and all that sort of stuff. So we really want to invite everybody to be a part of this. It's going to be the entire Master Shah Tao Centre Sydney team. So all the master teachers are going to be there, and we're going to have the special guest, David Lush, who's a top Tao teacher, and he'll be joining us for part of the weekend as well. So really want to invite everybody from our hearts and souls to be part of this workshop. And you've got a little snippet of that today, but it's really a very beautiful, deep, fulfilling journey. So we'd love to have you a part of that. The link is in the description if you want to find out a little bit more. There's a few different packages. One of the packages, if you haven't done a Tao workshop before, you may be a bit newer to these teachings, includes a 10-part series that Mirva has just created, and that's the Tao Wisdom Series. Each of the 10 parts is about 20 minutes. So that is actually a prerequisite to join the weekend, but it's included in one of those packages. And those 20-minute sessions will really be a crash course in the Tao wisdom. It will very quickly uplift a lot of the knowledge, introduce and uplift a lot of the Tao wisdom to you. And then that will allow everyone to go into that workshop and really allow Mirva and everyone else to go very deep. So it's going to be a very, very powerful weekend. So we'd love for you all to be with us. And of course, as always, if you have any questions, please send us a message on Facebook or on our YouTube channel. You can leave us a comment. You can also get in touch with our customer service team at the center as well. But the easiest way would just be through Facebook if you're viewing it there.
Thank you, Alexander. Thank you, Mirva. Mirva's done a fantastic job on making that connection of this, theoretical, philosophical Tao to making it practical, because so many people, in my journey, are very disempowered, have accepted hopelessness, or have just accepted so many situations in their life. And everything we offer and everything that Mirva offers, it's all about the empowerment. For me, everything Mirva was sharing about, even like last week, is just like a beautiful, almost sometimes felt like a fictional storybook, something you'd read, as a young child, these beautiful stories, but is it real? And I just want to tell you all, it is extremely real, it is extremely possible, and it's totally applicable to everything you do in every single moment. So be excited, be really, really excited, because I wanted to make the theoretical practical, reading all of these beautiful books and go, this is beautiful, it's what I believe, but can we make it happen now? Let's make it happen. And everything we do and offer is about making it happen. Let's take it from that nice book, that nice story, to making that transformation and bringing about these aspects that Mirva was talking about, bringing back this true joy in the heart and all of that. And that's what it's all about. So Mirva, thank you so much for your time. We will definitely get Mirva back. I think it's something we will consistently bring Mirva back as we go on this Tao, journey. But Mirva, thank you so much for your time. We've gone a little bit over time today, but I think that's okay, because what's been shared is very much priceless. So we're very much looking forward to serving you wherever you are, helping you with wherever you are. And Mirva's very blessed to have Mirva to take us on this journey here, particularly in Australia. So thank you so much, Mirva, for your time. Really looking forward to the workshop and to everything you offer. And thank you, Alexander. And thank you, everyone, for being here. Really, really appreciate your time, and hope there's something you've taken today that's going to get you really excited so we can take you on that Tao journey with us. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Lex. I just wanted to add one snippet. The weekend will be very much translating personally, what does this wisdom mean for me? How does it manifest in my life? What are the opportunities that I haven't even realized? So it will be very tangible, a lot of opportunity for personal reflection, and very experiential. I really want to say you won't regret it. You won't regret it. It's gonna be such a blast, but a happy blast. I don't know where that came from. I didn't plan those words.
Beautiful, beautiful. I was feeling the same thing. I was like, I'm going to give everybody my personal money back guarantee. I'm like, hold on a second, I don't have enough money. But honestly, you won't regret it. It's for those that have been in powerful workshops before, that they are such a deep and profound experience. So we really, really look forward to everybody being there with us. And again, thank you, Mirva, thank you, Lex, and we'll see you all soon. Lots of love. Have a great day.